By the way, this would be the perfect time to go drive. If he just got his license, there's nobody on the road. You could take him everywhere, and it'd be so easy.
You got the open road, dude.
Yeah, it's true. It's just we can't stop and do anything.
But he could social distance and just drive himself everywhere.
It's kind of exciting.
Yeah. Ben, are you working still while you're like during this time period? Like, can you still do voice stuff?
I sold a script. When does this come out?
Oh, wow. Congratulations, dude.
Thanks, man. Well, it's a pitch. I sold a pitch.
It's still awesome. It's still huge.
That's great.
You're very kind.
This week. It's going to come out this week because we want to coincide with the Sonic release.
Okay, so I'll tell you guys off air what it is because I don't know when they're going to announce everything. But I sold this pitch before everything, which is great. So this is like my 5th or 6th movie I'm writing for studios, and it's so hard to concentrate. I'm finding it so hard to write. I'll get notes. The studio I'm writing it for, they're awesome, and the notes they've been giving are great. I just I'll be writing, and my hand, almost like an addictive tick, will take my cursor to Twitter or take my cursor to Gmail or CNN, and I can't stop after writing 2 sentences going to that and back. And so I'm trying to learn to shut off my Wi-Fi and put my phone on Do Not Disturb, give myself an hour or two just to write because I can't control myself. I've never had this before. It's so weird.
I completely understand where you're coming from because as somebody who I need structure, I need time. I need like blocks of day to do things. And if I don't do that, I'll keep pushing it off because there's no true deadline for some of these things. And you just keep going and going and going, pushing it off. So we get it. So,
hey, can we make a deal that if we get it to minute 40, that Sean has to play a song on his acoustic guitar that's behind him?
Yes.
I'm super self-conscious about what's behind me now.
Hey, I'll get my guitar too. You want to do a whole freaking show? We can do it, man. I'm down.
If we hit 40 minutes, we get Jake throw out his pearly whites, and you guys play your guitars.
I will happily be your Band-Aid.
What's the box set next to Green Lantern? Oh, The Irishman. They gave you a special one because you're special.
Well, it's like a big making
book.
of photo book. Here's my weird. I'm going to describe to you my OCD filing of DVDs behind me.
Hey, you're talking to someone who has a slight OCD too. This is going to be great. I can't wait.
They are grouped by director, by filmmaker, to a certain extent. The two top shelves are grouped by franchise. So like I have all the MCU movies, I've got the Indiana Jones movies, all the Karate Kids, there's Lord of the Rings, Ghostbusters. If you're a franchise, you get your own little section. If you are a comic book movie, you get your own little section.
It makes
and
no
then down
sense.
below it starts directors.
It makes no sense.
It makes sense here. It makes sense up here.
Yeah. Perfect.
Like, my wife is the one who did all of this. Like, she's the one who put all of this together.
Well, see, now I'm getting jealous because I want to turn my camera because I've got stuff too.
Do it. Turn your camera. I can show you nerdy stuff.
Please.
Hold up.
Speaking of nerdy stuff. Hey.
Oh, you're a good man. Wonderful. Oh, I have one of those. I steal a prop from everything I've done, but this is the one that everybody loves the most. Can you see it or no?
Wait, is that John Ralphio's tombstone?
Yeah, that's
No, it's not.
Yes. That's amazing.
Yes.
I have to be careful what we say because it feels just like friends hanging out.
That's awesome, man.
Oh.
I have that. I have some extra Middleditch and Schwartz posters. We made limited edition posters, so Dave Klock gave me a couple there.
I saw a guitar back there, Ben. Come on, dude.
I see a guitar back there, too. I see a guitar back there, too. This is going to be a Rusted Root jam session.
Rusted? Send me on my way?
Sure, let's go.
These are props from almost everything I've ever done.
Oh, wow, dude.
This is a hat that I got from Shanling before he passed away.
Oh my God. It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
It is top 5 for me. Josh Weinstein gave me the Bart vs. Australia script of Simpsons.
Oh, that's awesome.
What else do I have? I have nerdy stuff from stuff I've done. This is all Parks and Rec props and stuff. I don't know if you can see.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so cool.
This is a great one. This is when I was on set of episode 9. I was on the Millennium Falcon and I tried to take a tiny piece of insulation and it kept ripping.
Oh my God.
This was a thing inside Luke Skywalker's cave for 9. That was episode 7 stuff. Those are the things. That's what I wrote for the Oscars. That's what I wrote for freelance for whatever. These are all the Kid Robot. I don't know if you guys collect Funko or Kid Robot stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, sure.
This is like a wonderful person designed all these knit things of Parks and Rec characters,
Love
and then
it.
they did one of BB-8. Wow! And then just
Oh my God! Look at that Back to the Future
hoverboard.
hoverboard, man. Hell yeah!
Yeah,
Nice.
but that's just like a memorabilia. You know, like how you can just go online and get that.
Yeah.
That's plastic, man. That's from The Walk. This is from when I did Lego Movie.
Yes.
Dude,
This is one I wrote and won one of those somehow.
That's
I
awesome.
still, the walk in IMAX 3D is still one of my favorite experiences I've ever had in a movie theater. That was
It was crazy.
that was a
It
mind blowing
That
experience.
was incredible. Anytime I do a talk show, because I started by freelancing, I get the mug that I was drinking with when I was on there.
Can you
Oh,
ask
that's
for that? They let you take that?
Yeah, let you take it. And then Larry King, I got a pair of his suspenders. These are all my Super Nintendo games that I still have.
Yes, dude. Where's Donkey Kong? Where's Donkey Kong? Come on, man.
Yeah, you could probably say a game and I can nail it out. This is one of the best games ever made of all time. Hold. I don't know if you guys like video games.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
You got a 64 up in there?
No, I stopped at Super Nintendo, then I picked it back up at PlayStation 2.
Oh, that's awesome.
I borrowed my cousin's PlayStation to play Final Fantasy VII. And then that was it. And then I got some Sonic stuff, some fun like posters and stuff like that.
Here's a mini Hattori Hanzo sword.
Oh, that's
Kill
cool.
Bill. This is the one that Uma Thurman actually used.
What's your favorite DVD that you guys have?
Oh, I know mine. Hold on.
Hold on.
And surely you guys have collected so many things from those press stuff throughout the years.
Oh yeah. Far too.
Yeah,
many.
we got some stuff.
All right, here we go.
Jake, there's nothing. Let it be known that there's nothing behind Jake right now.
This is my prize possession right here.
What is that?
This is the entire series of Breaking Bad, and they released a Money Barrel version of it. And my wife got it for me for my birthday. And every time I interviewed someone from the cast, I would get them to sign it. So like Brian, and then Aaron wrote "Yeah, bitch,"
Amazing.
and
Amazing.
a gun. I mean, it was. It's still. I don't know if you're watching Better Call Saul or if you've seen Breaking Bad, but it's like, you've
Breaking Bad, I've seen. I never saw Better Call Saul, but I love Breaking Bad.
I'm watching
Dude,
it now. It's good.
Watch Saul, man. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
It's Breaking Bad level good once it gets to season 3 and 4. It's like that good.
Nice.
Dude, thanks. That's cool. Shit.
I did a thing on the wall on the turn around the corner here, and it's a bunch of frames of things I've been able to do. My wife won't let me hang anything up around the house. So she keeps everything stuck in this because it would just spill over. It would go everywhere. So I've been to the set of both. Spider-Man's my favorite character of all time. I've been able to go to both of the sets for Homecoming and Far From Home. But I pulled this one. That's my favorite one. I got to bring the boys to the world premiere of Ready Player One.
Oh,
And,
come on.
They had it at the Dolby.
Yeah.
And we all wore our Spielberg shirts, and I got to bring them. Like the only thing they wanted to do was go to that Tool double layer Foot Locker that's on Hollywood Boulevard right
Yes. Yes.
there. And like Spielberg came out to introduce the movie, and they were just like, but like tomorrow, can we go to the Foot Locker? And I was like, guys, I need you to just focus with me right here now, because Spielberg's out here talking to us. And stop! You can't do live props.
Yeah, dude, that's shooting.
Everybody was showing stuff off, and I wanted to show something off too.
All right, you know what? If we're doing that, hold on.
It's a mic drop.
He brings his wife, and we all get really uncomfortable. He carries in his wife like that. We're like, this is not. No. What's the name of your doggo? Oh,
This is Daenerys.
I'm not going to go get my dog on principle.
Go get one of your sons, Sean, and hold him like Good God.
beautiful.
We should start our interview.
We should start an interview.
Yeah, we should go
Yeah,
because Gabe is upset with us.
I don't know. For me, showing that the stuff around the house that made my day. So thank you. That was fun. Thank you for doing that.
When we're done, I'll show you some other little private stuff that I think you guys would dig.
Cool.
All right, let's do it up.
Ben Schwartz, thank you for joining us. This is absolutely an honor to have you on the show. But obviously, before we start getting into movie talk and what have you been doing? How have you been holding up at home? Have you been getting any work done? What's new with you?
It's been fine. It's scary. It makes I'll have these little bouts of anxiety that I don't see coming, or like, I don't know, or I'll read an article at night and then wake up in the middle of the night, like halfway through my sleep, being like, what is happening? But outside of that, I mean, quarantined just in case. I have nothing's going on, but quarantined just in case. And eating like a lot of chocolate and cookies and stuff like that. Playing
so
a lot of video games. It is. I will come. I'm just now being like, all right, I got to chill out, or I'm going to be like, I'm going to gain lots of weight. Video games have been huge. I beat Chrono Trigger. I put 15 hours into a video game and beat that. And then in terms of working, we have Middleditch and Schwartz coming out in 3 weeks, so we're handed in all of our finals, which is great, and now we're just working on all the trailers and stuff, and then we're working. Oh, and then I a script. I owe a script, so I'm working on that, but it's hard to stay concentrated on it. I find myself going away from it and back every time, but I have something to do, which is good, because if people that are just actors kind of might not have as much to do unless they want to create stuff around their house, which I think would be amazing, or Zoom with people, but. Yeah, so I've been trying to concentrate on that writing thing, but it's been very difficult because, I'll watch John Oliver, I'll look at CNN, and it'll get me a little bit nervous and stuff like that.
You didn't have to see Krasinski's good news report or network thing that he did you?
No, what's that?
John Krasinski did
awesome.
something on YouTube this morning, and it dropped, and he just he solicited good news from people on his timeline, on his Twitter feed, and then he turned it into a news broadcast where he just reported on good stories.
It's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and Steve Carell joined him during the Good News broadcast, and they had an Office 15-year reunion or something like that.
Oh, come on. That's amazing.
Yeah. Check it out. You got to check it out.
I got it. That's a great idea. I was trying to, there's this thing we used to do that, an improv show that someone started before me that I jumped into later on, which was called Director's Commentary. And I was thinking, and what it is we'd watch a movie and we'd all pretend to be like, hi, I'm Steven Spielberg, and hi, I'm Harrison Ford. And then we pretend to do the commentary. So I was thinking about doing a Zoom with a bunch of improvisers and allow Twitter to pick whatever movie we do. And then we would pretend to do the director's commentary for that movie. I think that, I'm trying to think of things, and then I'll get a little bit inspired to do a bunch of stuff. And then I just be like, I don't want to do it. I can just lose all that push immediately.
I would pay a lot of money to listen to you do a Harrison Ford impression the entire time while commentating on Empire Strikes Back or something. That would be amazing.
See, that would be a perfect one to do. That would be so fun. Get Taron Killam to play Harrison Ford, because he does a perfect Harrison Ford.
Just talk about how over it he is.
He just grumbles every 5 minutes. He doesn't really say anything. He just grunts every couple of minutes.
There was one that I don't know if I was in or I was watching, but Rob Hubel, who's a really funny improviser, he was a UCB in Chelsea, and he was pretending to be the stunt coordinator for some action movie we were watching. And every 2 seconds, he would just be when there's a big stunt actiony scene, he'd be like, "That's me. No, that's him. That's me. That's him." And it made me die. So I was thinking about putting every night, because improv it lends itself so much to this because we don't need to prepare anything. So I was I wonder if there's a fun way to use it, but it's not like a show, but it's people can join in or blah, blah. So that was one of the ideas.
That's cool.
Ben, I don't want to hit you with a hard question off the bat,
Sean,
but
I can't
we're
wait.
journalists. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we do. On your Instagram, a few posts back, you have a really sweet video of you're racing a little girl in a movie theater. It looked like a Sonic post-screening Q&A.
Yeah.
So I just need you to tell me, did you let her win?
Of course I let her in. What are you, nuts? I could kill that girl. I could destroy that girl. I hope she's watching this podcast now. I let you win. Know that for the rest of your life, that an adult man let you win. God, I can't believe you got that out of me.
I feel like that's been building inside of you for the past few weeks.
Thank you so much, Jake. I have been, because she has been taunting me. She keeps telling me I'm nothing. Well, her mom tweets. She's very, very young. But her mom would tweet at me and say that I'm nothing. And I can't, I don't need to hide anymore. We're in quarantine. She can't come and get me. You know what I mean?
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, no.
For real, though, you guys had a massive opening weekend in terms of box office for Sonic. And it seemed, to sort of fly in the face of this. There was an apprehension, nobody really knew what to expect from it. There was a redesign. And then it opened huge, and you guys haven't had a chance to really take a victory lap. I'm just curious what those numbers felt like. What was that opening weekend like for you guys?
It was crazy. It was crazy because if you cut back blank months ago, when the redesign happened and when that first trailer comes out, it's just, to take the input of people, to take the input of fans, for Paramount and Jeff and Toby and Neil Moritz to, listen and see what they wanted to do and find a different path in doing it. and then it working is, I mean, I don't know how many times that's ever happened. If that's ever happened before, you guys would know more about this than I do, but it's so to get the gratification of people really enjoying the movie and then going like it was everywhere. And we got such a bigger opening weekend than anybody thought. And then the funny thing is right before it was over, we passed Pikachu as the biggest video game domestic opening of all time, which was, unthinkable at the beginning. And now it makes me so happy because the script didn't change, outside of us adding some jokes here and there. The script was always what it was. My performance was kind of always what it was. So it's like, it allowed people to see the movie that Jeff was making the whole time and not just concentrate on something that may not have made them as enthused as they are now. So it's like, I cannot tell you how happy we were. And when it started to hit, we were all on a text chain, going back and forth, celebrating. And, I've done a lot of things and a lot of movies and stuff, and never have I been in something that I was such an integral part of that blew up like that. So for me, it was very special. So that's like when you say, Sean, like racing that little girl, Paramount was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do anything to say thank you. Like, and you saw me, I went to theaters, I did, and we don't get paid for it. It's like the fun part, you know what I mean? So I went everywhere and tried to say hello to kids and did some video stuff to interact with kids and did as much as I could because I realized how lucky that was that we got that. And then it might have been the last big one before the quarantine thing. So I feel really lucky and to be able to go out there and say thank you. And then like Kid Cudi loved it and had seen it twice. So he rented out a theater and all of his fans came and they were like so genuine and positive and lovely. And so we went there and did that. Like I'm really impressed how Paramount's handled everything. And also I'm so happy that I got to say thank you to so many people in theaters while we were still allowed to go in theaters.
That's awesome.
Ben, speaking of Pikachu and the other sort of video game movies out there, you guys are sort of an anomaly in that Sonic is a good movie and like a good video game movie. And I say that because most video game adaptations have honestly kind of sucked. Like why someone hasn't made a legit great Metal Gear Solid movie, I'll never understand. But like,
I like Mortal Kombat.
I grew up on Mortal Kombat, but it doesn't necessarily make it a great movie. Anyway, but like, I'm sort of curious as to like, everyone pretty much universally agreed that you guys are like one of the very few great video game adaptations that's ever been made. So from your perspective, you're obviously a video game fan. What did you guys do right that other video game movies never quite figured out in the past?
What a great question. I don't know. See, I don't know what it is. I was such a video game fan growing up that I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie when I was a kid and didn't know it was bad because I was a kid and I love Super Mario Brothers. So it's like
Bob Hoskins is great.
I mean, I'm also even wasn't who played M. Bison in Mortal Kombat?
Ooh, I don't know.
Who was M. Bison in Mortal Kombat?
Wasn't it an incredible actor?
Well, I thought M. Bison was Street Fighter. Am I?
Oh, Street Fighter. Sorry. Who played M. Bison in Street Fighter?
Is it Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Oh, no. He played Guile.
Well, the bad guy was who was
Raul Julia.
It was Raul Julia, right?
Let me see.
Yes.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yes. I remember that because there's like some great actors that have been in video. Like Raul Julia is an incredible actor. I don't know what to say as if to say what we did different. I can tell you what we didn't. Hopefully it shines through is that like, I think Fowler let us play. Jeff Fowler let us play. If you have Jim Carrey, you let him play. We had a great script. by the two writers that wrote it were incredible. And so we used that, but then also he would let us play. And one of the things that I did, because I love voiceover and I've been doing it for a while, was I would ask him to see what we've already done. And I can't see Sonic. I just see illustrations or like roughs of him. And I'd be like, hey, I can think of better jokes for this, this, and this. I want to do this over again. Because I was really invested. I really wanted it to be good. So I did that often. And Jeff, who didn't have to, would give me his computer while he's in a different room. I'd rewatch the parts we've done. And if I thought of something different or better, I'd do it. But I think it was the script, the character, and also we had like Neil Moritz and Toby who've done these movies with action before. So all the action sequences work well. And I remember when I rewatched the movie, I don't think we overdo it, which is a thing that I see oftentimes when I see big action films, is that it's like action, 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 hard, joke, 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 action, action. This one, it's like the action is really spread out. You get invested in the characters. The way that I was playing Sonic was like, if you care about him like a little kid, and he has the emotion of a little kid and you feel like that, then you'll be more invested when the good happens and when the bad happens. So I really tried to plug that in. And I think it paid off because I think people cared about all the characters at the time. But I don't know what we did different. I do know that Jeff let us play, and I mean, they worked their butt off. The special effects look amazing. And I think we just got lucky that Jim Carrey just happened to decide that he wanted to do this movie, because Jim Carrey it just legitimizes the whole thing. And then also it's just, he's like, oh, I'm going to do comedy, like the type of comedy that you've seen me do back in the day. I'm going to do that again. He can do everything. And he's like, I'm going to choose.
I never thought we were going to see that Jim Carrey ever again.
I mean, I watched it, when I watched it for the first time, I literally we were in a small little theater. It was just like, I think 3 or 4 people. And I was like, oh my God, because I wasn't on set. So the first time I saw Jim Carrey stuff was when I was getting screened. And I was like, oh my God, we are so lucky. He just decided this is the movie, he's going to do this again. And we just happened to be, and we'll go to screenings and people, they'll ask Q&As, and one of the, like when they're testing the movie at the beginning, they'll be like, oh, what did you, like, do you know who Jim Carrey is? And they're like, no, who is he? And I was like, this is crazy, because it's a whole different generation of kids who haven't seen Ace Ventura, The Mask, or stuff like that. So we got very, very lucky. But man, it takes a great director and a great producer to make. There's so many things that have to work well. Not only the design and the CG and the VFX for everything, but also like James Marsden has to be a straight man that you care about. And you know what I mean? And all the jokes have to work off of him. So it's all these things that everybody did well. Tika, everybody was great. And even Adam Pally, who has a small role in it, crushes. Every time he's on screen, he gets a big laugh. Tika's amazing. He makes you care about the relationship and all the people that are layered throughout. The guy who plays Agent Stone with Jim Carrey is a perfect foil for him to really show off the stuff he does. So we got lucky that the script was great. Jeff did a great job directing it. And then, I think it was like a good script. I think that's what all movies kind of start with that.
Ben, I want to jump in on that too, just because instead of making you circle back around to Carrey, like I kind of assume with animation, you do your voice work so early in the process. And then you kind of said you caught up to what he was doing later on when it's screened for you. Like, were you able to then sort of adjust to what, because when I finally got a chance to catch up with the movie, it's settling into its groove. It's introducing Sonic, we're sort of going along, setting up Marsden. But when Robotnik shows up, it becomes a totally different movie. Like, it shifts into a gear. And like Jake kind of said, it's a nostalgia that washes over you, because you're just like, oh, really, Carrey came to play, Yeah. So when in the process did you even see what he was doing, and how did it sort of affect what you were like, oh, man, I got to get into another thing here?
The cool thing is it never kind of changes my performance, because it didn't, like, I kind of was locked into kind of what I thought he was doing. Yeah. But the fun thing is, especially for someone who's an improviser, I get to see the exact takes Jeff is going to use. So I know exactly, it's like literally recording this and just recording your side and me being like, okay, he says this word. I can make his joke pop more if I do this, or I can get a joke off of this if I do this. So I can either set Marsden up, or I could take Marsden's like look like that and be like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, and play with it, knowing that on my side, I can add a little bit of length either way until they start animating. So like I have a little bit more room, or blah, blah, blah. So we would do a bunch of other stuff. And the first time I saw it, I went to set once, because they needed me to put dots on my face and we needed to do a whole thing. And when I went there, Jim Carrey was dressed as Robotnik, and he was doing a scene. He was doing the scene where he's in the big flying egg pod, and they had him on hydraulics, and he was dressed as him, and he had the mustache, and he had the red whatever. And I got to see him do a couple takes, and I go, oh my goodness. And Jeff is like, yep. And I was like, oh, baby. And then like I got to talk to him, which was huge. And I was very, very nervous, because he meant a lot to me. When I was growing up, I remember back in the day when you, like, for colleges, you would have like a small little TV screen, and on the bottom of it was a VHS player in it. Like, so it was like, So my sister had one of those, and she had gotten a better TV. So I took that and I plugged it into the closet across from my toilet, and I would watch Dumb and Dumber and stuff like that while going to the bathroom, and spend like way too long just like watching. And so, because I had all those VHSs, and I was like, oh, what can I do with this that I can't do with my normal VHS player? I was like, I could put it in weird places. So like, I did stuff like that. But one of the biggest things you have to give it up for is Jeff, but also Patrick Casey and Josh Miller, who wrote the script. They did an amazing job. They crushed it. And also they would give different punch-ups throughout, and they were around the process from table read to the end. And they're good dudes, and they love the property. So the idea that we had good writers and a good director, we lucked out.
Now, do you see wild Carrey stuff that didn't make it?
No, I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any like the deleted stuff. I hope that there's this whole I don't think they got I think I can talk about this. We did a test. So the way that it all started, and I think I talked to Kevin about it a while ago, or maybe Jake, but it was like, Sean, you refused to talk to me. But we did a test at the very beginning when they were trying to sell it. So I don't know where the rights went from, but the rights went to Neil Moritz had the rights, and he's trying to sell it to a studio. And so to sell it, they want to make a test video, like a 5-minute test just to show what Sonic is, then give it to all the studios and see who wants it. And they asked me, because I had a meeting with Tim Miller, who did Deadpool and, is a brilliant, wonderful dude. And he's like, oh, we're doing this Sonic. We're going to do a test for Sonic. Jeff is going to be directing it. And I was like, oh my God, I love Sonic. And I talked to Jeff about it. Oh, let me shut off. Something's beeping. My dryer's done, guys. Wait 1 second.
Yes.
Or else you're gonna hear beeping.
We're going to keep this going because this is hilarious that Ben is at home doing laundry while we're interviewing him, just to clarify that is part of our audio right now.
Big time celebs taking a break in the middle of our interview.
Celebrities, they're just like us.
To change his laundry. Wait, this might be a good opportunity to bring Ben in on Bathroom Blend, because he was just talking
I feel like I know what his answer would be.
I know, I need to know the answer to that question.
What happened?
We have a game that we play on the show at the end of each episode. It's called the Blend Game. Obviously, our show is ReelBlend, where we we'll come up with a topic or a celebrity or a director, and then we'll pick. When the game started, we would argue what we thought was the best entry by this person. Then we decided to make it a little more personal, and we tell what our favorite film by this person or performance by this person. Sometimes we do genres. For a little while, we did decades. It got to be a lot of fun.
80s blend, Spielberg blend, Zemeckis blend. Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin has been pushing for Bathroom Blend for since the inception of the game, and we refuse. I'm a little bit more on the fence. Jake legitimately does not want to play Bathroom Blend.
What is describe what Bathroom Blend
you
is.
just brought up like Dumb and Dumber, which arguably has one of the greatest bathroom scenes in the history of cinema with Jeff Daniels. In my opinion, he should have won an Oscar for that performance on that toilet.
So it would be a scene that you would bring up that is your favorite scene that takes place in a bathroom. Jake does not want us to stoop to this level. Kevin's
is
arguing
classy.
for it.
Look at the backgrounds of both you guys and look at the backgrounds of Jake and understand that Jake is classy.
I know.
Look at the
His
crappy
Art Deco
microphones you guys
design.
use. Look at the spit filter he's got in front of his microphone. You guys are trash. Jake is beautiful. You understand.
This audio is absolutely staying in the podcast.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Ben, what is your favorite bathroom scene in a movie? I have to ask this.
Oh, great question.
Thank you.
This counts as Bathroom Blend, by the way. We're done after this.
I don't know. You have to. I would have to think about it. I would have to think about it.
Van
You can't
Wilder
put
has
me
a
on the
good
spot.
one.
It's not a thing you could rush into. I wouldn't expect you to have that answer at your
Thank you.
fingertips.
I appreciate that. That'd be so weird if I did. There's a game that we play. I'll get back to the stimulus over. There's a game that we play that you guys would be incredible in, and we may do it around. Maybe we do one round around the horn real quick.
Yeah,
I'm down.
It's a game. I forget who taught me this game. I don't think I invented it. I can't imagine I did. But you say an actor or an actress, and then you have 5 seconds to say a movie he or she has been in.
Yes.
And you go around the horn, and you only have 5 seconds. Okay.
Let's do it.
You want to do it now?
Let's do it.
But
Let's do it around.
everybody has to put their hands. You have to put their hands in the air because you cannot use a computer.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Wait.
What's the order? What's the order?
The order is okay. So you're right because everybody's screen is not my screen. So I would say it goes. I'll pretend that I'm in the. It'll go me, Kevin, Jake, Sean, me, Kevin, Jake, Sean.
Okay, and then so just practice idea. So you would say a movie or a name. How do you
so
play?
let's use Bruce Willis right now as a practice. This is just a practice.
Sure. All right.
So I would say Die Hard.
Okay, and then Jake, and then I would have to name another actor in Die Hard.
No, you just have to think of another movie that he's been in.
Oh, okay, that's easy. All right, that's fine.
So we just keep doing Bruce Willis titles?
Correct, but you only have 5 seconds. You only have 5 seconds each, so it quickly becomes that you're down to the bottom of the barrel.
Sure.
I also understand that I will lose first, but I want to see what happens when you three go at it. So I'll do one that has a lot of. I will start it. And
Don't do Raul Julia.
There is also another game where you say an actor's name and then you have to think of someone else who's been in that movie and you go through. Whatever.
I think that's the game Kevin.
That's the game Jake and I have played. Yeah. Okay.
Which is very fun. Okay, we're gonna do a legend, but we're gonna do a legend who just got out of. Oh, I'm gonna show you. Oh, I have a. All right, never mind. It's gonna be Tom Hanks, and I'm gonna start.
Oh God, that's
Okay.
Jake's favorite actor of all time.
Okay, great. But Jake only has 5 seconds. Hey, wait, Gabe, can you put yourself on the screen too? So you can count down and tell us when we're at 0?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh yeah,
This is the best interview we've ever done for the time.
Okay, ready? So Gabe, literally all you... Yeah, go, Kevin.
Ben, you just unlocked Gabe's favorite thing in the world is telling us when to stop talking. So thank you for doing that.
Okay, great. Gabe, all you have to do is somehow count down with your fingers. Okay? So for each one, and when your fist, for a 0, when you hit fist, you go, and then you say that person's
out.
name, and you have to say a sentence about why they lost, and then that person...
In a deeply personal response.
Oh man,
Very personal. Go into their diary. Okay, ready? So I'm always going after Sean, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Ben,
I'm writing
Kevin,
down
Jake,
Sean.
Sean.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Kevin, Jake, and Sean.
You'll forget because your mind will screw up. And if they get a movie that he's not in, they're out. You have to out him. So you put on IMDb on your thing, Gabe.
Or if you repeat a movie that someone said, too.
That's correct. You can't repeat the same movie. Sequels work though. You're allowed to use sequels.
Jake is bad at games, by the way.
But you cannot say if there's like if you do Alvin and the Chipmunk, but you say Alvin and the Chipmunk 2, but forget to say the Squeakquel, you lose.
Oh, okay.
All right.
By the way, I also like how we stopped a real conversation to play.
Oh,
this.
yeah. We bailed out of it as quick as possible.
Sonic's on demand, by the way. Be sure to buy it.
All right, Gabriel, when you say go, I'm going to say the first one. It'll go from me to Kevin. Big.
Road to Perdition.
Toy Story.
Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 3.
Catch Me If You Can.
The Burbs.
Joe versus the volcano.
Bachelor Party.
Cloud Atlas.
Green Mile. Green Mile.
Sully.
Forrest Gump.
The Post.
Philadelphia.
The Money Pit.
Oh, no. Oh, a Terminal.
Oh my
Saving
god.
Private. Oh shit.
Bridge of Spies.
Saving Private Ryan.
Bonfire of the Vanities.
I'm out. I forget one. 5 seconds is too quick for me. All right, good. I'm out. Now it's you 3.
You've Got Mail.
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Punchline.
Sleepless in Seattle.
The Simpsons movie.
Nice.
Fuck, he's in the Simpsons movie? God. I'm out.
Kevin!
Damn it.
Philadelphia. Anyone say that yet?
Already said it. I said
Yes.
it.
Dang
Okay.
it.
Well, of course Jake wins, Tom Hanks.
Tell me more about how I'm bad at games.
Ben.
When did you lose?
I blanked. I didn't come up with one. Shit.
Wait, you know what?
Very
All
fun.
right, here's what I'm gonna do, and this is just me being like us being film journalists. Let's bring this back to Sonic by doing the game with Jim Carrey.
Oh, great. I love it. Let's go.
Starting on Ben. All right, starting on Ben.
Get Gabriel back in the room.
All right. Then we got to get back to an interview.
All right, ready?
This is great. All right.
You good? Gabriel, tell us when to start. Ace Ventura.
Sonic.
Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls.
Mm-hmm. Nicely done.
The Truman Show.
The Majestic.
Ooh, I like The Majestic.
Great. And you know, Jim Carrey loves that movie too. The Mask.
Kevin, you're on the clock.
The Mask.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
God damn it. He was in Batman Forever.
It's not duck soup. What is it? Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, good one.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I said that.
Used.
Oh, you're done.
Did
Kevin,
you really?
You're out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Liar, liar.
Oh.
Can it be TV shows?
You're out. You're out. No.
Just
I'm
movies.
bad at this game.
Mr. Popper's Penguins.
Oh, good one.
Ooh, I Love You, Philip Morris.
The Grinch.
Oh.
Ooh, Once Bitten.
A Christmas Carol.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
fuck.
Zemeckis, too.
Man on the Moon.
Oh, great one. That'll take me out, I think. Horton Hears a Who? I just guessed. I don't know if he's in it. Is he?
No, that's Steve
No,
Carell.
that's Steve Carell.
Steve Carell.
Oh.
Jake wins twice? That seems like bullshit.
Tell me more about how I'm bad at games. I'd love to hear it.
That's a great game.
Well, how fun is that, by the way?
That's awesome.
It's so much fun.
And then
It's
the worst
awesome.
is, so now like I'll click on Jim Carrey and we'll see all the ones we missed and we'll be like, oh
Well, I thought of the number 23.
yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know why I
Oh,
went to
no one
Eternal
said Dumb
Sunshine.
and Dumber. Did anyone see Dumb and Dumber?
No, or Dumb and Dumber 2, or Lemony Snicket's.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty, Jesus.
I was gonna say Dumb and Dumber, and I thought someone already said it, so I said Eternal Sunshine, which somebody already said. So I just went down the wrong path on that.
Oh,
one.
Yes Man. He was in Yes
I'm
Man.
sorry. Jim Carrey is in Horton Hears a Who. He plays Horton.
Oh!
Wait, is he really?
All right, you know what?
Number 23.
All right.
I would have been out from there.
Wait, so does Ben win that round?
No. I just don't lose as bad.
But I don't win.
All right, so Tim
Kevin,
Miller.
get us back into this interview.
Tim Miller. I was ever Tim Miller, and they go, "Would you play the voice?" And I said, "Yeah," because I'd done DuckTales and a bunch of other stuff, and they were a fan of mine. And then we made a short, and in the short, Reed Scott was playing the James Marsden character, and it was just a thing of like Sonic going by, and it was that scene where Marsden was kind of like clocking him, kind of. And so that was the scene that we did, and I improvised a whole bunch during it, and they used that to sell to the studios. And there was a point where they were going to include that in the Blu-ray, but I believe they couldn't because there's so much different music that they didn't own. You know what I mean? But that's how I started from that. Sorry. Wow. Now we can get to whatever the next question was.
Well, no, and now I'm interested. I know you've been asked a lot about the redesign, and so I'm just interested about it from your timeline's perspective. So when that trailer hit the internet for the first trailer that hit, there was obviously the backlash that created the movement to push the film to a different date and obviously redesign the CGI. I was curious when you saw that version of Sonic, that animated version of Sonic before the internet
the
did.
Old or the new?
The old. And I was curious, like, did you also have any hesitation about the way it looked prior to hearing internet backlash?
The way that I saw it first, I think, was on the trailer. I had to do ADR on the actual trailer because up until then it was all very temp. But I believe the trailer was very, it had to be done very quickly, I believe, or something like that. So the first time I saw it was then. And then when it came out, when it came out, and the reaction we got when it came out, I was like, first of all, we had no idea if anybody would care. We care. The four of us here care because we like video games and movies, it seems. Yeah. But the biggest thing we learned from that is that when it came out, so many people were so vocal, and it became a huge thing. It got passed around so much. You know, may not have been the most positive reason why I was getting passed around, but it got passed around so much, and so many people had such like heartfelt, passionate ideas from it that the biggest thing we got from that was like, oh, a lot of these people care a lot. You know what I mean? Let's look at this and figure it out. But the first time I saw it was in the trailer for the ADR, and then when it came out, we were all, or I was like, let's think about this and stuff like that. But
as you were doing the ADR, did you have any hesitation about the way it looked? Like, did you think, oh, this maybe looks a little strange? Like, did you have those same thoughts?
I think it was still so early that I was like, the big thing I think they were trying to do was, how do you bring Sonic into the real world? Because he's a computer character. You can't just bring him in. So it's like, how will he look, in a real life situation? So I think that's what they were tackling. So when they were showing me the trailer, they were explaining that, and I was like, okay, all right. But I will say the new version, when I was doing my voice the whole time, I was doing it the way the new version looks. I was kind of in my head, that's the way it looked. So when I saw the first one, I was like, okay. But when I saw the second one, I was like, oh, this is in my head what this little guy's been looking like the whole time.
So this leads to an interesting question about fandom. And I think that fandom is obviously more extreme than it's ever been before now. With the internet and social media, people can voice their opinions. And when that particular trailer hit, obviously we talk about the backlash. I'm happy the way it happened because the version that I saw that came out in February 14th was incredibly well done. And I'm happy that version exists, and I'm happy that fans spoke out and it led to that redesign. But for you as an actor, where is that line? Where is the line of when to give in to the fans, when not to give in to the fans? When does it become a dangerous, slippery slope to go down that path?
I think that's a very interesting and smart question. I think you have to do it on a case-by-case basis, because in our movie it helped tremendously. I believe it helped tremendously. And I think it helped tell the story that was already there in a way better way, because people weren't focusing on the thing that kind of distracted them from the trailer. Instead, they were loving what the character looked like. And one of the ways that I say it now is that when you see the new character, it's a doll you want to buy. You know what I mean? And so it's like, the kids can get more attached to it, stuff like that. But I think it has to be a case-by-case basis, because if everybody releases something and a series of people say, I hate this, it's hard to change your own art unless you agree with them or you understand them or something like that, because you don't want it to affect everything. I remember when the Turtles movie came out, I remember there was so much backlash on the Michael Bay Turtles, but then when the movie came out, it did great and people forgot about it. And I think that version of the Turtles, as someone who's played Leonardo and as someone who I think punched up some Turtle stuff in my time, writing wise, it's like I saw those at the beginning. I was like, I don't know, and then the movie just works. Then that's that iteration of that. So I think there are things that we were the positive aspect of this, but I wouldn't want everything to be influenced. But also there was a lot. It wasn't just like one or two people saying something. It was the majority of people, or, half the people. So when the numbers are that big, you have to listen. One of the things that I've always learned from taking notes, or even from like the way that my dad and mom kind of raised me, is that you always listen and then you decide if you want to act upon it. But why wouldn't you just listen at the beginning? And then you can make your decision how you want to move forward. And so I think that's kind of how it's going to have to go. And luckily all of us were on the same page with that, I believe. We lucked out, but I have to imagine that in the future, I don't know what happens now, because it influenced it and it worked. So I don't know what happens. It's kind of a blueprint now of that happening and helping a film. So I'm not quite certain what happens after this.
It's literally a blueprint.
Nicely done, man.
Sorry.
You can leave, Kevin. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming
guys.
by.
That's pretty
really
good,
cool to see you. He's an asshole, right, guys?
Yeah, that's the worst.
Wait, what'd you guys say?
No, nothing, man. You look great.
Thanks.
Speaking of fans and sort of what they feel like they're owed, I promise this isn't a name drop, but Steve Carell told me in an interview one time that basically he's done saying that's what she said to people. He said people have been, he said, I started the show 15 years ago and I still have people coming up on the street, and now I'll let them say it, but I'm done saying it to people. And you told me an interesting story whenever you and I spoke for Sonic, which is just guys will come up to you in a bar and scream you're the worst, in your ear. And I'm just curious, you guys are several years removed from that show. To what degree are you done? If a fan comes up to you on the street, do you still feel like you kind of need to say that if they ask you to say it? And where is the line where you sort of go, you're you know what, I'm done with that?
I'll always respond. Anytime someone wants a picture, but very few people actually are hey, there are a lot of people, especially when you do press, because you as you guys know, you're in that line, you get hundreds of people coming in and you want to make everybody happy. And anytime you're in a situation where the press is like what you guys do, which is oftentimes you come in, you have 5-6 minutes with someone, and you know that people like you, especially Jake and Kevin, who I've talked to Kevin about before, it's when you come in prepared. You don't want that person. You want to give them time and make them feel like you're here for them and stuff like that, because they're preparing for that. You know what I mean? You don't want to make it look like you've just talked to 100 people, which you have. Yeah. But you want to give them their time, whatever. So
we appreciate that, by the way.
You're very kind. But the same for fans and stuff. That's their first time kind of getting to meet you, and they have a connection to you or a character you played. And so I'm always, anytime someone wants a picture, I do it, unless it's someone asked me in the bathroom once, which was weird, but it's so there was there's always, weird extremes that are a bummer. But for the most part, it's people who watch Parks or people who come to my improv shows are pretty comedy friendly, cool people. And so it's I'll always take a picture of that. Every now and then when people ask you to say the worst, you're right. It becomes oh man, it's a little bit of a bummer. You're oh, okay. It would take oftentimes what I say is, how about this? You say it and I'll be right behind you and we take the video. And they'll be because they won't say no. You know what I mean? They'll be oh, okay. Yeah.
Was that because of the show or because it's become such a meme? Did that take off immediately from when you did it in the episode?
Well, the show wasn't very popular when it was on the air. When we were on the air, I felt the first, I started season 2. I think probably people didn't really come up to me till season 4 or something like that. And then, and even then though, every season that we did was, I'm not sure if we're getting picked up or not. Right. I mean, I wasn't a lead, so I don't know the whole story, but that's what I was kind of hearing from that side. So I think when near the end it got popular, and then the internet definitely helped, because I guess that character is very memeable, as you say, like a meme and stuff like that. And then Netflix, I'm getting kids, like 10-year-olds who love this character, and then they'll be like, I watch you on DuckTales and Parks and Rec. I was like, what? So it's like it's very interesting, the whole idea. So you're right, there is a piece of you that's like, oh, when someone asks you to, like, because also that guy, John Ralphio is like a big, like, a cartoon almost.
Yeah.
So it gets a little embarrassing to do it oftentimes, but most time people just ask for a picture, or they ask for this, for you guys to take a picture like this.
Yeah. Which is the next best thing.
Yes, and I mean, I just did a TV show with Carell, Space Force, and it's coming out hopefully soon. And so it's like he's the best of all time. And you have to understand, The Office is huge. The Office is like the number one show on Netflix, and he is the star of the number one show on Netflix. Right. So it's like it's very different for me, who's Parks and Rec, which is very popular, but I'm also a guest star on that show. I'm not anything like that. This Sonic is the first time where it's like I've had to leave a lot of voicemails for kids, but it's been a joy because they're kids, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then people take videos of their kids like playing the voice note, being like, hey, what's going on, Sean? Happy birthday. You know what I mean? And the kid is like, what? It's like such a different.
Sean is going to clip that audio.
Yeah, of course.
That was the entire point of the question, was to get you to say that.
Oh, crap.
No, I do. It's funny that you mentioned that, because that's actually my follow-up question is I want to talk about whenever you play the lead for a movie, but your face isn't obviously in the movie, it's your voice. And I think about back in the day when I was a kid and I was watching movies that had animated characters, and my mom would point out, I was like 4 or 5 when Aladdin came out, and my mom would like point at Robin Williams and be like, hey, like that's the genie. I'm like, no, that's not. Like that's not, like I couldn't comprehend that. So do kids, I don't know if this is the right word, but do they get that you're Sonic, or does it take some like finessing? Does it take a little bit of explaining sort of how it works for kids?
Yeah, you cut out a little bit, but I think I got the question. For the way that I figured out the best way to do it is by leaving a voice note, so they don't ever have to see my face, because then they could they know what Sonic looks like in the movie. So I'll literally go on voice memos on my phone, and I'll say happy birthday, or if someone's sick, or I'll do that, and then I'll text the file, and I'll text it with the kid's name. So like, because oftentimes I want to pass it around or whatever. And so I realized that if I put my face in it, they don't understand what's happening. But so I don't get any of the glory personally, but it to see them go bananas, and to see the parents it means more to them than to the kid, because the parents like, oh my goodness, I can't tell you, he's been sick all week, and all he wanted to do is see this movie, and he wasn't able to see it. He's watched the trailer 5,000 times. So they're like, him just watching that, but it's, by the way, it's great. Also for me, I was addicted to animation growing up. I didn't know who was doing half those voices at all. And then now later on, you of course do, because I love whatever, but like Lion King, when I met Jeremy Irons for the first time, I was like, oh, motherfucker, that's Scar. That's fucking Scar. Yeah. So it's like, for me, it's like, oh, but as a kid, you're right. How would you ever? There's so much that needs to happen in your brain to understand that.
Dude, this is a really random poll, but what are the odds that you've seen the Inside the Actors Studio with the Simpsons cast?
Oh, I've seen a little bit of it. Where they were stacked like two.
Yes, they're stacked, and they run through their characters, especially Hank Azaria. Like, he runs through his characters, and it just blows my mind. So
there, when the first, I have it over there, but I can get it for you. The first, when I started doing anything, when I was at UCB and Chelsea, and nobody would come see me. I was an intern there. I was a bartender there. I was taking classes. I was a Letterman page. I was freelancing monologue jokes for Letterman. The very beginning, I gave myself 3 dream goals, like bucket list things that I wanted to do. One of them was to be a voice in The Simpsons. One of them was to be a guest on David Letterman, because I was a page there. So I was like, if I could somehow get from where I was, where you stand in the back helping people to the bathroom, to on that stage, that would just be huge. And the third one was to host SNL. And so Simpsons one, I was a guest on Letterman right before he ended for House of Lies.
Wow.
And I was a voice in The Simpsons. And I also did this, I don't know if you ever saw it, but if you're a big Simpsons nerd, I'm a huge Simpsons nerd. I did this thing when it went to FXX, where I stayed up and just watched all of it with all the writers and my friends. And we did it on YouTube But like that's how I met Josh, and that's how Matt Selman came in, and like all these huge people who've influenced me. By the way, some of the best books, I have them right here, is Swartzwelder wrote these series of detective novels, and they're amazing. If you want to go there, I think he might Kenny Dale Books, whatever that is. But so regardless, I went to a table read before that because I got invited to just look at a table read, and I got emotional just listening to them do the characters. I teared up just because I had listened to them my entire life, and it made me a better writer. It made me like everything. So like hearing all of them there, seeing all of them there was one thing, but hearing them do the voice, I find that the older I get, the more I like to feeling such joy at a stuff that I felt joy as a kid. So playing like Chrono Trigger when I finally could for the first time in 20 years because of quarantine, or like going to Disneyland, which, we didn't get to go as a kid, maybe once or twice, or watching old Disney movies. Those things bring me such joy. And The Simpsons is one of those things. I would fall asleep. It would be my movie. It would be my show that I would fall asleep watching too, because I knew the words so well that I didn't have to. It's like, if you watch a new something, you're listening to the words. But if I know all those Simpsons episodes so well that I can fall asleep to it.
I'm going to steal Kevin's thunder just for a second, because it sort of transitions to something I wanted to get into, which is I'm obsessed with talking to comedians who do voice work. And you've done a lot of it over the years. But to me, it seems like everything that is necessary for voice work strips away everything that makes you funny. Timing and, a live element and being able to bounce. Like you hear people talk about voice work and they're like, sometimes you just do the same line over and over, So what have you learned about voice work and comedy that you're like makes you better at it now than when you started on like Turbo or something?
Great question. So like the first thing I ever did was like a small, first I did voiceover commercials. And failed a very long time before that, it's hard to break into voiceover, by the way. And especially at the beginning, now I have a tiny bit of a name, but before, I had nothing. So I was a guest star on Tron. And I think a guy named Aaron Drown from Disney Television had seen my improv shows. Aaron Drown is responsible for so many voiceover people's careers, and people probably don't know who he is, but he's a Disney guy.
No kidding.
And he's wonderful. I hope, by the way, that whole Disney Television group has been very kind to me. So he gave me Randy Cunningham. He was the person that first of all, he brought me in the room for a ton of stuff. I couldn't get anything. But what I would do, and the way that I want to stand out, is in my head, I was saying the same page that everybody else was saying. But for me, I can improvise a little bit, right? So anytime I auditioned, I would play with the back and the end of it. I'd play with the words a little bit to have a take so that he can have that. And so people could see that I could do that. I would ask beforehand if it's okay. And if someone says, okay, I would do that. Because for me, I'm not like, Rob Paulson can do he's a man of a billion voices. He could truly do a billion voices. I could do different voices. And a lot of people don't know that oftentimes when I do a TV show, I'm ancillary characters that only have 3 lines, but you wouldn't know because I'm doing totally different voices. But when it's when I get hired, it's oftentimes to do a version of myself, whether it's very excited or whatever. And then, there's a Netflix show now that I'm doing that I play a character and then I play the character's imaginary friend. So those are 2 wildly different voices. But oftentimes but also then you talk to yourself, as you talk like this and then you talk whatever. But the things that I learned are, 1, I bring improv to it at the beginning stage because then whatever. 2, you learn that your voiceover appearance, people are going to animate to. So you have to bring all your energy to it. You can't be self-conscious that people are looking at you. I go bananas. Like Sonic, I'm going bananas. When I'm running in real life. When I'm pointing or what I'm doing, I'm like, I got a fish on my head. Like I'm doing everything. So because for me as an improviser and a comedian, that's how I kind of learned how to do my stuff. But I'll tell you, one of the things is I improvise, and then you realize if I'm doing Randy Cunningham was a 11-minute show, I think. So you can't improvise as in length. You can improvise within the words or add little things, but I can't add 20 seconds because that costs thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So you learn how to, timing is actually big on it because you can, it's huge on it because you could, I'm usually by myself when I record. So the director or the writers would do the other lines and then you'd go back and forth with them. And I always ask them to run lines and they're in my ears. When we're doing it, I do it live instead of me just saying my lines and pausing because I act. It feels like I'm acting. So I learned my timing off of that and learned that, like when you can improvise, when you can't improvise, when you can go crazy. And then you learn from the shows like Randy Cunningham. They're like, hey, remember when you do like a Seinfeldy type read? Do that for this. Or like for DuckTales, it's like, all right, now go make this a song. Or you know what I mean? Like make or whatever, like even in Parks and Rec, they would write the line and then sing-songy. And there was never any direction. It was just whatever you wanted to do. All the line said was like, the worst and sing-songy, or like got run over by a Lexus and sing-songy, and then I would do it. And then I remember when they hired Jenny, they're like, "Hey, just so you know, your brother in this sings like this and da da da. So if you want to," and so we ended up doing that a bunch too. But
that's awesome.
There's a lot of room within it. But I mean, I've met some people like there's this guy Eric Balza who's a voiceover genius. He's just a genius. He can do in DuckTales. He does all of the Beagle Boys, and then in Turtles he does Splinter, and then he's doing all these things where I can do that a little bit, but he can do it for like 100 characters, where I could probably give you like 7 or 8 totally different characters. But oftentimes when someone hires me now, they want a version. They don't want it to sound insane. They want it to sound like a human, an exaggerated version of a human. They don't want me to, they don't want that. They want like a whatever. But that's a good question. These are great questions. You guys are great.
Oh, that's awesome.
I am very fascinated by your BB-8 story. I have found this to be so interesting. I was watching a Reddit AMA recently where you were giving a backstory about the BB-8 story and how you did the voice for BB-8. I know that, I believe on the set or when you did the actual voice for BB-8, you did dialogue, actual words that were then turned into the beeps and bops. But you tell a great story about how it was edited with the sound of your actual dialogue. Can you talk about what you were actually saying as BB-8 that was then translated?
It's been the great mystery, Kevin. You're trying to get it. It's the great mystery. The great mystery is what I said during BB-8, what was my voice. But there's a video on the DVD where you see me talking. And they have a little bit of it. And I forget what it is, but it was just like, it's kind of my voice and a little bit higher. But we started, the way that started was obviously what you said. And then JJ wanted to put heart into, he's like, I want you to know when BB-8's sad. I want you to know when BB-8's happy. So let's have you say real lines and we'll give that to Lucasfilm and we'll have them, or ILM, and we'll have them make them to beeps and boops. So we wrote dialogue and I got to go to London. They flew me to London and I got to, because they needed it for the toys. That's what they needed it for.
Wow.
And the toys they need that far in advance. So it's not even a matter of we need it for the movie right now. It's like, hey, they're going to make these toys pretty soon. So these are manufactured blank in the future. So we would write all this stuff, and JJ, I've been so lucky that JJ and I have been collaborators. We did, that Wrong Man's pilot together, and he put me in Undercovers, and I helped him write some stuff every now and then. And he's just one of my close friends. I wrote his kid's college essay. By the way, his kid is, first of all of his kids are geniuses. His daughter Gracie's like a pop artist or a real artist that's going to be like huge, but his son Henry is an incredible writer, and they wrote this Spider-Man comic together. I don't know how nerdy you guys are.
I just started reading that. Yeah. I actually just read that first issue. It's on Marvel Unlimited.
They crushed. Yeah, I bought them because I'm a fan, and also I love so I love that whole family. I think is incredibly special and lovely. But so I went there, and JJ, and we would write lines for him. I would go in a little office.
What were the lines based on, though? Were they based on the actors' reactions already?
He would. So, by the way that it really started was Harrison Ford hurt his foot. So Harrison Ford, remember the door fell on Harrison Ford's foot?
Yeah, that's right.
Harrison Ford hurt his foot, so JJ and everybody had to go home. JJ came home, and he's like, hey, I'm coming home in 2 days. So we have some time to figure this out. This is what I was thinking. He showed me the picture of BB-8, like he showed me the drawing, and then he goes, also, I'll show you the stuff we filmed, and let's do it off of one of the scenes we filmed. We were in a mall in Santa Monica, and I'm like, and he has his special, I don't think it was an iPad. It was a version of an iPad that has the footage.
Directors have a very special one.
And it's like just the footage from Star Wars, and he has it in his hand. Like, no, it doesn't exist outside of hard drives in this. And he's just like, we're in the middle of this mall, and he's like, all right, let me show you some stuff. I go, here? And he's like, nobody cares.
JJ in the middle of the mall makes no sense.
It was amazing. And he showed me, and he was right. Nobody cared. Nobody bothered us. You know what I mean? Nobody cared. And I was like, God, if anybody, because this is before 7 came out, so people had no idea what the movie was.
Right.
And he was like, it was amazing. So he showed me this stuff, and it was very emotional, of course. I was like, oh. And then he's like, this is what I'm thinking. Then we go to Bad Robot, and we tried some stuff out. tried words, and I did it against the screen, so I saw the actual scene. that they had edited together, because the people edit the assemblies very quickly, especially on big movies. So we saw that. We saw a rough assembly of it, and I would say lines opposite where BB-8, the guys were holding BB-8 and making a move. So I would add lines, and we'd go back and forth. JJ gave me a bunch, then I would do it, and I would show them, and we would tweak it, and then they would send it to ILM, and it came back, and you could kind of hear that it was a human becoming beeps. He's like, and he goes, we got to figure this out. Come to London, because he went back to London. I was like, yeah, you got it. No problem. I'll come to London. Let this be the first ever business class trip I've ever taken to London in my goddamn life. And maybe the third time I've ever been out of the country or something like that. So I went to London, and there's a little room where Matt Evans was the editor, and we were doing it. And then Matt Evans also showed me that he had all the original sound and, he had all the original everythings that he could edit with. And he also had the scenes without anything. So I then made Matt Evans show me old 4, 5, and 6s, and I do voices for R2D2, and then pretend JJ that I'm going to show him BB-8, but it's just like R2D2 being like, "What's going on, guys?" Something like that. But we would go back and forth, and we try to figure it out, and I'd write stuff, and I'd send it to him. And I was allowed to go. I had a pass that allowed me to go on set, so I'd go on set. There's pictures of me with BB-8 in the thing, but nobody can find them, which is because they take them, but I'm not allowed to bring them home, and someone else is taking them. Right. So I didn't get any of those, none of those. So I was like, I wish I had broken I was too afraid to break the rules and get thrown out of London or whatever. Meanwhile, on
gotta leave London. Get out of London.
Episode 9, I'm stealing insulation from the Millennium Falcon.
And they just reused your beeps and boops to 8 and 9 after that. They just used
in the end, I don't even think they. So we did it for a while and we didn't quite get it. And then this guy, Robbie Stambler, who's great. I hope one day you guys get to interview him, because he also did the sound for 10 Cloverfield Lane, which he did some of the sound design for that. It's amazing. And he's kind of a genius, and he comes from a lineage of great people who do this, and he's just a wonderful, wonderful guy. So him and I were in a room in LA, just trying everything, and he brought in huge machines and synthesizers. And then I got this movie called The Intervention, which Clea Duvall directed, and I had to go. And when I left, they brought Bill Hader in. Then Bill Hader used synthesizers with JJ, not Robbie. And then in the end, I think literally JJ found like a way to use an app on something and to create those. So I don't know if there's 0% of us in that or 50% of us in what happened. But the fact that they put me on the scroll was, that's crazy. So that was that. So there's a whole bunch of different lines.
Get those Lucasfilm checks. That's how you know.
Oh my God. And we did that. I forgot what I was going to say. It was probably stupid. I forget. But Robbie Stambler, Matt Evans was the editor that I was with, and we were in tiny rooms. It's so funny. You think about how crazy that type of movie is. It's me and Robbie in a tiny little room, and it's me and Matt Evans in a room with no windows, trying everything, looking at each other, being like, "Can you believe we're doing this?" And all of us at the same time are like, "This is amazing, right?" It was that.
We do that all the time.
So great.
But I think we're gonna add just a couple more. Then we're gonna cut you loose.
Yeah. Are you okay on time, Ben? Because I know I don't want to. Keep
I'm supposed to be writing. You're literally taking me from the thing I've been telling you I've been procrastinating from.
Perfect. All right, Jake, go.
Whenever I was looking through your filmography to get ready for the interview, the first thing that hit me was just how vast and just how eccentric it is. There's so many different things, but the thing that really stood out to me is the amount of legends that you've been able to stand next to and work with. I mean, when you look at Jim Carrey and Henry Winkler and Billy Crystal, and I'm curious about like comedy legends in particular, since you are a man of comedy. Those are guys that have such different styles and they're different kind of people. But is there a through line? Is there a common thread in comedy legends that no matter how different they are as people or as comedians, that like they all have in common?
Great question, man. And by the way, that's something that I actually do on purpose. There's a role with that. Jeremy Irons is a perfect example. Script, I was like, oh, that's pretty good, but I was like, I get to work with Jeremy Irons. And then Billy Crystal, I was like, this script is Peter Hoare wrote that script, and that movie ended up doing so, like, I'm so happy people watch Standing Up, Falling Down, but the reason I do that movie is because Billy Crystal's in it. And then he calls me and he says, I want you to do this movie with me, and I'll do anything you want. And we helped Peter rewrite the script a little bit. And then it was in a place where Billy's like, I like it, now let's do it. I was like, yeah, of course. Whatever you want, of course. One of the things that I found out is that it's hard work. And it's a lot of the things that it's that they work hard, rather. And it's a lot of the things that I've seen with everybody. You look at Don Cheadle, you look at Carrie, look at all those guys, Billy Crystal. They work their asses off, man. I pride myself in being a very hard worker as well. So one of the things that I've looked at all those people is that it's not just that they're funny and they became successful. It's that they're very, very funny and they work really hard and they're passionate. Billy, right after our movie, he went to direct something else, and we talk about that. And before we did any scene, Billy and I would run it a couple times and find the perfect rhythm for it. Same with House of Lies. The four of us would get in a room right before the scene. Like, we'd rehearse it and change stuff on the day and really find the groove. It's all that stuff. So they're hard workers, and I think the harder you work, people say it all the time, the harder you work, the luckier you get. But it doesn't take skill. And Billy had a great line once, which he's like, "Never let them see you working." So put in all your work beforehand. Don't let them see you really working so hard on the day. Do all your stuff so when it's the day of, man, you get to just
speaks for you.
Wow.
I think that's it. It's like you get on stage and you perform, and they can see the work that you've done through just like, oh, you know what, he's very. For Standing Up, Falling Down, I really wanted all those scenes to feel like a camera just happened to be there while two people are talking, and it worked because I think Billy and I really worked on those scenes and played with them and stuff like that. But then you look at something else, and it's like there's this a bajillion dollar properties is this thing I did, and there's a scene with me, Ryan Gall, and Drew Tarver, and it's totally improvised. And the reason why that's so fun and good is that we've done improv for 20 years together separately. We put in the work before, and now, you know what I mean? So I think the idea of really working your butt off, if you love it and you care about it, all three of you care about what you do, and you love movies. So it's like you could tell, I feel like you could feel it. But I have been very lucky, and I go after that. And also, there's a piece of my career, especially throughout my whole career, it's like voices that I feel like may not have enough attention, like me doing Undercovers, the idea that it was two African-American leads on an NBC show, which didn't really happen. And then the next option I had after that was House of Lies, the idea that there's multi-generational African-American families where it's Glynn Turman and Don Cheadle, and I work with Don, that for a Jewish kid that grew up in the Bronx, like this is stuff that I'm very proud to be a part of, that I can point to and show like how cool that I was in a show that, you know, exemplified something cool like this. And stuff like that. But also, like, I flock towards people that inspire me. So Greg Daniels, Steve Carell, do whatever they want. You want me in Space Force? Yeah, of course. Literally. You know what I mean? Like, great, whatever you want, and so on and so forth.
All right, we're going to get you out of here on one last question, but before we do that, tell people about your Netflix special because it's coming out soon.
Oh, great. Yes.
Middleditch, yeah.
I'll plug all this stuff now. So April 21st, Middleditch and Schwartz, we did 3 comedy specials. They're long form improv. They're not stand-up, they're not sketch. What happens is we get out on stage, we recorded it in December at NYU. We get out on stage, we talk to an audience member, not planned beforehand, about anything that we ask them, what are you looking forward to, what are you dreading? Someone's like, oh, I have an interview coming up. We talk to them about that for about 5 minutes. That's it. Nobody else talks for the rest of the time. We create an entire show, almost like if you guys think about it, like a movie, of one through line throughout the whole thing, 50 minutes per show. And we make up every single thing, every character, everything. Nothing is planned beforehand. And we did 3 of those. And we did 4 of them, and then to release 3. So we just cut 1. And we have 3 of them, and they're coming out April 21st. And it's a huge deal for us because, you know, long form improv, there's like 2 or 3 specials or anything out there. And one is a documentary. One is when ASCAT tried to do something. I did an improv special with House of Lies, but those were people that aren't improvisers as much as, you know, Cheadle and, you know what I mean? So this is like the first time for me that it's like, this is what we've been doing for 20 years. This is what we do when we get on stage, when we're touring, when we do Carnegie Hall, when we do Chicago Theater, when we do the Met. This is the show we're doing, and Netflix is allowing us to do it as a long-form improv special, which very rarely happens, very rarely. So I really hope it catches on because not only do we get to do more, but then like for improv, there's very little place to go outside of your tiny little 100-person theater. Sure. So like it'll like open that up a bit.
Well, speaking of improv, I actually am interested in knowing this because with an improv audience and just kind of helping to promote that, but also with improv audiences, you have an audience there telling you what's funny, essentially, if they're laughing or not laughing.
Instant gratification, yeah.
Right. So when you're playing to a Netflix crowd who's on their couch at home watching your comedy, is there an adjustment to how you deliver your jokes knowing that someone at home is watching it versus someone in a crowd may have other people around them to laugh with?
Great question. Great question. The biggest thing is that people are told is that improv doesn't really translate because you have to be in the room. And the way that we play it is the way that we learn to play it to big crowds. We play the same exact fucking thing. We don't change it. We do what we've been doing for a long time. We tried it from these 100-person crowds and 300. Now we're doing 3,600. And we don't change a thing of what we do. And I think that's what's great. But the other thing that we did in this special, which I think will hopefully let you see, is we got 9 cameras. There is like so many cameras.
Jeez.
Because we wanted things to play in scenes. So the thing that you get from this that you don't see in our big shows is you get to see our faces and our minute expressions. Cool. Or like when Thomas and I are doing characters to really see it. So it's not just a wide and we're just following a wide. We have crosses.
But that changes the comedy, being that close up on your face.
So that the editing for this special is choosing angles. And also from the beginning, instead of making it a 15-minute us interviewing someone, we cut that 15 minutes to 5 because that's not the improv part. That's just us talking. And we didn't want people to think that the whole show was just us talking to someone. So we truncated that to like 5. So it's not, because in the beginning, before we even interview someone, we play around with the audience and just talk to people for a bit. Or we just like joke around. So we cut all that stuff out. If you want to see that, you come to our shows and we're just, we're the same improv. We're just messing around. And then we cover the hell out of it because we wanted it to look good and we wanted it to look professional. Because you look at Kevin Hart specials, you look at all these like huge specials, they look gorgeous and they look cool and they look epic. And we wanted long form improv to get that same chance. So we really shot it with like great cameras, a ton of all of our money went into the cameras and stuff like that and the setup because we wanted it to be good. If that many people are going to watch it. So that's one of the things I think that are going to help it translate is that what you get by seeing it on Netflix is a cinematic experience of what would like how you're seeing things. Like if it's someone reacting like this off the line, we have a close up of Thomas or I going like this. Cool. So I think that'll translate well. And
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm so excited for people to see it because Thomas and I also have no idea because maybe 70% of the world has no idea what long form improv is. They may have seen Whose Line Is It Anyway, but this is nothing like that. This is 2 people making up a play or movie or whatever on stage. So it's like, we have no idea how people are going to react. So we're like nervous and excited, but we're happy with how they came out.
We have a captive audience right
now. Sure. I'll just do the whole thing now. But it is interesting that that whole thing will be interesting. I hope that people dig it. And I think it's a good representation of what we do for long form, which is basically all we're trying to show.
Yeah, and it's funny, you mentioned 9 cameras. Scorsese used 9 cameras on The Irishman, which is like insane. 9 cameras is a lot. That's a really...
How did he put...
Apparently...
It might have been 6. It might have been 7 cameras or 6 cameras.
That's crazy. Yeah, well, seriously, man, we're really looking forward to seeing the show. The improv sounds amazing. We want to say thank you so much for taking this time.
Sonic is out on digital tomorrow. Or I guess it's out right now.
All right, well, you know what?
It's out this week, yes.
Then
out this week.
I will end on this because I wanted to ask this, and I think the audience will find this interesting. Because
Kevin,
Sonic,
you set this up. You set this whole thing up. There's a lot of pressure on this last question. And then, Sean, can you play us out with the tune?
Yes, sure.
Very great.
And I want to say thank you to Ben, by the way, because I DM'd Ben on Instagram, and he responded and came on the show. This is the whole reason this happened, so thank you. But with
Sonic, by the way, I never ever check my DMs, but because of quarantine, because when you're the DMs don't come up, like it becomes like it just goes in a little grouping that says like the DMs of your friends come up, but then the people that you're not friends with, which I've unfollowed almost everybody on Instagram because I don't want to waste a lot of time there. So it's like because Twitter I spend too much time on the so you never look at the 99 other people, which are usually fans, or because it updates so much. And I happened to click it, and you happen to have a blue check mark in it, and so like an asshole, I looked at your picture. I was like, "Oh, Kev, this is like the guy who we just interviewed, and I just talked about how much I love your interviews and stuff like that." And so I didn't get to till months afterwards, I think, right?
No. You responded like a month or 2 after that, but the actual ReelBlend request was a couple weeks ago, and you got right back to it.
Oh yeah, because by the way, once you accept it, it goes into your friends. Then you can see it all the time.
So what you're saying, the life lesson is slide into those DMs.
No, don't. I never do it. I even told Kevin in, and I go, it took me a month because I literally never look at these because I just like I can't do it. It wastes too much time.
I'm sliding into the DMs right
now. Serious last question for you. With the movie hitting VOD on Tuesday, I know you did facial capture for some of the sequences, which I love. When you watch the movie, what is the scene where you see your face the most?
Oh,
the facial capture you did that you go, that's what I did on the day.
I don't know. I know the fish on my head thing became very you could really see me in that also. And also, I told him I'm copying this Jim Carrey line from Dumb and Dumber when our pets' heads are falling off. So the animators who were amazing got to see all that. That one definitely has me. But there's a bunch of little things. There's a bunch of little things that they did, whether it was just looking at video of me recording or the dots. But that one, when I look at, I believe you see that stuff.
That's cool. Cool, man. Thank you for doing that.
Hey, thank you guys so much. What a fun little thing this is.
This was great, man. Seriously, thank you so much. You're a good guy.
We did
This
it.
one's called Fish on My Head.
Great. Play us out, Sean.
Ben, thank you so much for joining the ReelBlend podcast, man.
Listen, we didn't get to Quentin Tarantino time, but we did pretty well.